Welcome to Verbal Pig Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Now, we're dealing with the current situation that's circulating throughout our community, dealing with President-elect Donald Trump. You had Martin Luther King Jr.'s son meet with him. You had Steve Harvey, Omarosa's on his team, Jim Brown, Ray Lewis, amongst many others. And then on the other side, the anti-Trump, you have John Lewis and his team of people. And John Lewis stated that Donald Trump, he doesn't see him as a legitimate president. And there's a lot of confusion going on because one group is moving towards the left, one's moving more towards the right to align themselves up with Donald Trump. And why is that? Simply because they're seeing the fact that anybody who was against Trump, they know that when Trump gets in office, he's going to cut them off. So those that are lining themselves up with Donald Trump, they're looking for a job. They're auditioning. And when you have some of these celebrities, some of the celebrities and some pastors are a medium, if you will, or they are a arbitrator for the establishment, you can say, for the industry or for these corporations, because what happens is these corporations have an agenda. They use some of these pastors and some of these celebrities to bring forth that agenda to the black community, and you'll see them starting to accept certain things where they used to be against it at one time because they're trying to secure their position. Is not really about the people with some of these celebrities and some of these pastors and some of these leaders. It's more about them securing their lifestyle and their positions that they hold within those corporations that they sign contracts to, and they go out and lobby for these corporations and for these powerful men that hold these positions that can easily cut them off. So people shouldn't get confused, because for them, well, for the people that they're hurting, it's personal, because they put their stock within these individuals, and then these individuals let them down, and then they fire back, and then they give them the name of a coon. But they didn't just start cooning. They've been cooning. But as long as they've made us laugh or entertained us within our scope of knowledge or ideology, it was fine, because they aligned themselves up with some similar views that we may have. But then when the shift change came, and because they were comfortable, because they can continue the same old game as long as Hillary won. But when Trump was elected, now they were confused. They started seeing Trump's reaction, and he started saying, hey, if you were pushing for Hillary and you wasn't for Trump, don't bother coming over on my side. So now you see Steve Harvey and some of these celebrities and pastors, they are auditioning for Trump. They're lining up to kiss his ring, because they're saying, well, let me go with the winning side and see if I can maintain my lifestyle. It's not about their viewpoint. They're not into building up the community or black people. They're basically into, what can I get out of this for myself? But the big mistake that they make is, instead of bowing down and kissing his ring, uniting and creating their own, that way they can have a real sense of freedom. What is freedom? Freedom is when you look at a thing or you look at a situation and you apply your mathematics to the situation and the universe or universal laws that govern this whole planet. then you stand on the side of right, because you know that if I do this plus this will equal this, and you also know that your thoughts create your reality or shape this reality. So you don't have to bow down, or you don't have to sell your soul for material or monetary gain. All you have to do is create out of truth and be true to what you create, and things will come with patience and time, because everything that is created within time. So what you have is people who either got where they at not on their own merit, but by someone placing them in a position and then threatens them with the carrot on the string that if you don't do such and such since I made you, I can break you. So it takes a strong person to be self-made. And how do you be self-made? You self-taught. You teach yourself. You learn. You go and discover what you don't know to add to what you do know. Now you have solid ground to stand on. And you don't have to be a coon. But that message of doing for self is a threat to some, because the narrative is that black people entertain for the white supremacist mindsets that are out there, and that's the value of your self-worth is to entertain them for their purpose. But if you stand out for what's right, you can be maligned, you can be ostracized, because you started off doing what you do for their approval. And when times change and what you were doing to seek their approval is no longer in, then they have no use for you. So you try to reinvent yourself and say, okay, well, what do y'all want me to do now? I can do that. So now you become a puppet, and you're doing, in every month you have to change, to where people don't even know who you are no more. They're moving you around so much, and you're being puppetized so much to where the individual even loses themselves to who they are, because they steady fighting for material gain to feed that hunger. But when you're self-made, you don't have to buck dance. You can sit at a table and discuss business. I want this, I don't want this. I feel like this is a benefit for me. I feel like this is not a benefit for me. I feel like this will enhance who I am. I feel like I'd be selling my soul if I was to do that. Because whenever they want to bring in a new agenda, they will use the celebrity or the pastor. And then the pastor relays that message to the congregation, or that celebrity relays that message to his fan base. And, bit by bit, they slowly starts to turn the mind of the people towards the agenda that was given to them by their former slave masters or by the corporate execs who they work for. Because the corporate execs is saying, and this is the thing with the LGBT community, they're saying, look, you got a gathering, a unification of LGBT community who has money. We want to tap into that money source, so we need to make them feel welcome, and you need to let them into your church or into your establishment. But what happened was, you would have a sister such as Kim Burrell, who will make a comment that they view as negative toward the LGBT community. But she didn't see it as negative. She's saying that from the foundation, the base of the black church, there was no acceptance of the LGBT community, because they were teaching out of the Bible, and when the Creator called that act an abomination, so they don't want to be trapped to only speaking to a certain percentage out of the Bible. They want to use 100% of the Bible. But by doing so, you're offending another group that has basically taken over the church. And that's why the Washington Post, when they was talking about the Kim Burrell situation, was saying that there's a split amongst the black church. And trust me, they will work to divide that split even further to create more confusion and controversy so they can feed off that negative energy. But as the Bible says, my people suffer from a lack of knowledge. And reason why it's stating that is because knowledge leads to no excuse. It's either right or wrong because the knowledge is based on the mathematics, meaning 2 plus 2 will equal 4. 1 plus 3 will equal 4. So you can't go wrong. But when somebody says, well, maybe that's wrong. Let's say 1 plus 3 equal 5. And people started trying to use that as they base for building and wondering why it doesn't come out with the right answer with that wrong equation. But people keep feeding into the wrong equation till they build a foundation on the wrong equation. And now you see the fall of that because you included a fictitious number into the equation, but that fictitious number had become the base in which you build upon. So what happens then is people start getting confused. Then anger and tensions rise. And then people are saying, hey, I done put money into this church or into this organization or into this body of ideology for years, and they look around and say, man, there's churches on every corner, liquor stores on every corner, but look at our community. So you have groups like New Era Detroit who are going to the church, AME Church, and ask the pastor, you coming with robes in the mansion, but you got babies starving. How does that add up with what you preaching in the Bible? Well, what they fail to realize, they got away from the Bible a long time ago when they started accepting the LGBT community in. And I'm not bashing the LGBT community. I'm not dealing on that. I'm just looking at what's written in the foundation of the Bible, which started out that built the church, and then what's new that came along that's clashing. And now you have some LGBT that's starting their own church and have their own gay pastors that they go to. And when you're dealing with math and you're dealing with history, you see in history it never worked. And so they're saying, well, in this new daytime and new era, we're going to try to make it work. But heterosexual community is saying, hey, from the foundation of what we believe in and what you all believe in is clashing now. It's causing a split. Pastor Eddie Long passed a couple of days ago, and some of the comments was negative towards him because you have a wave of young people who were tired, or they seeing the fact that, man, my parents went through hell and I'm going through hell because I was believing a false doctrine. It didn't work. But when I tried what was true and I based it on logic and knowledge, I'm starting to have more success in my life. So they're walking away. But a lot of pastors who may have built their congregation on the LGBT community and took that money, the LGBT community is saying, hey, you got our money, you got to let us in. We not leaving. And so now they're saying, well, hell, we got a new president that's in who's who's stating that he's going to overturn a lot of the rights that Obama gave to the LGBT community. And so you have a lot of people upset coming from that angle. And so the pastors who want to line up with the new leader is saying, man, we got to, if we want, we don't know what he might do. He might cancel our 501c3. He might, churches that accept that, he might turn his back on them, or we don't know where we stand. So we're going to start speaking out and change the narrative. But the other side is saying, you built some of these churches off the community of the LGBT, so you got a fight on your hands. But that all stems back from, if you take the Bible and you believe it is to be true, and what's based on the foundation of that, or the reason why he called it abomination, is because in time, the two women can't have a child, so it's working against procreation when one of the laws or rules that God gave to man was to multiply and subdue the earth. And the only way you can multiply the race, or multiply man and woman, is a baby has to be born and has to come through the womb of a woman, and it takes sperm and ovum, or man and woman, to procreate, to keep things going for the perfection of the Creator, because he brings in, like Brother Farrakhan says, the next doctors, lawyers, the person who would solve the cancer problem, or problem solvers will come through the womb of a woman to bring peace on earth at the right time. So something, and some say that it's Satan, an evil entity, a negative entity, steps in the middle of that and says, I want to keep the world in darkness, so I want to enact this act to slow down the birth rate of man. And so people are fighting back. Then the other side is saying, well, I have a right to be the way I am. God created me this way. But on the Bible side, if God is all-knowing, he knows what he wants to bring forth if you believe in God. Now, if you don't believe in God, and that's another problem all within itself, because you didn't create yourself and you didn't create mankind. And so there you have it, a problem. Me personally, I believe that it takes man and woman to build, and a better society will come from the children that man and woman produce, following universal laws, mathematics, the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which is based on math and science, and goes at the nature of the black man and the black woman, will lead to our success and deliverance from 460 years of an oppressed mind. We don't want to continue moving forward in the future with an oppressed mind, because God is not the author of confusion, and the problem can easily be solved overnight. Meaning, whatever decision or choices you make those choices based on a solid plan, and a solid mathematical structured plan to produce a certain result, meaning there's no mystery, God. Things are not just going to happen just because you believe or you wish it would be so. You have to do some actual work in order to bring it into existence. Meaning a woman can't say, oh, you know what, I want a child, but doesn't get married or meet a man to produce that child. Now, they say, well, it's always option of adoption, But yeah, man and woman have to produce those children so they can be adopted. If the act of man and woman stop producing, then what would be left on this earth? Meaning, as time progresses, it's about the decisions and choices you make. And if all your decisions and choices align with what the Creator set forth in His creation, because all the other members of His creation, I'm talking about animal life, uh, uh, plant life, fish life, they fall in accord, and so they keep producing, and they hear, and we enjoy the beauty of that. And we were supposed to, as beings, human beings, we were supposed to line ourselves up with that same structure to keep creating beauty within human beings, or human beings was to be created to create beauty for the whole planet out of a mindset that was searching for peace, freedom, justice, and equality. With that mindset produces a peaceful, beautiful, wonderful environment that everybody can share and enjoy life. But when you have those who are anti-peace, then they create things to give confusion and destruction, and then you have to look at the ugliness of that staring you right in your face, or something that was created out of a wrong decision. But the adverse is also in effect that something can be created out of a positive mindset, and you can see the beauty of it. So it's the individual's ultimate choice on which road they want to go down. Do you want to uplift humanity, or do you want to bring humanity into the dark? But we all know the ultimate outcome, because the creator of it all will not be made out to be a liar and prove that he is God by the actions that the Creator God created, the universal God. Verbal Pig Radio, we out.